धीमंत अमया स्वागत है अमया शॉर्ट ऑन स्लीप टुडे 5 बजे कुछ एस्केलेशन आ गया था
Yeah, we are shooting this episode purely on adrenaline, so let's hope it goes well.
So Dhimant and I figured out that both of our cousins fell in love and married each other. तो हम भी दूर के रिश्तेदार हैं अभी.
I'll pass on some edge rewards and you can pass on some Emirates miles to me.
Yeah, we can talk about it. For some reason, Axis Bank decided to block my card.
Imagine that chai conversion of two product managers. आज cognitive load बढ़ाते हैं. आज एक नया चीज इंट्रोड्यूस करते हैं. ग्रुप ए ग्रुप बी. क्यों चाहिए ग्रुप ए ग्रुप बी?
If you have enough group B points towards the last 6, 7, 5 months of the year, then don't transfer. Wait for the next year for it to become a group A limit.
Yeah, but again, fair warning to everyone: make sure that the merchant code is right. You don't want to end up in one of the restricted codes.
You need to get Niranjal on the call. No, but Adil, hear me out. If they do this, you take the card and it devalues after 3 months. Will you feel more cheated, or will you rather say कि भाई ये लाओ ही मत दो ही मुझे?
The brain wants to agree with you. The heart doesn't. The heart is still like, my heart is saying, अरे आने दो यार, ले लेंगे, मजे कर लेंगे, and then we'll figure after that.
मेरा suggestion ये है for all starters. Don't keep thinking about in your dreams about Infini all the time. It's okay, have the Regalia Gold. You don't even need to make the transfer when you have the Regalia Gold. One total bummer on Forex fee is Atlas. Total bummer.
4%, right?
Like you're going outside, you want to spend on travel, you have a multiplier, but you can't use it because it's 4% plus GST. Yeah, I mean, it's insane.
If you are planning just 48 hours ago, before that, or 72 hours before that, make sure you go through the app, upload all your ID cards and whatever, call up their customer service, do whatever you want. Or before you start your meal, tell them that this is not done, get it done first. It might happen in restaurants, in hotels, I don't know where else. But get it done.
There's a guy taking a Ather bike, making his wife sit with jewelry on his body and driving away. मेरे पास सब card है. I mean, it's make it sound like so much of capitalism.
Lights flashing bright, we're on the go. Tune in now, there's so much to know. Earning bits, travel dreams we sow, all aboard the great Indian points and miles show. Zero to hero in the blink of an eye. Fly first class, no need to be shy. Redemption sweet, touching the sky. Award seats booked, let's give it a try. Award seats booked, let the points flow. It's all aboard the great Indian points and miles show. Unlocking journeys wherever you go. The sky's the limit, feel the travel mojo.
A lot of the cards that we discussed today, whether it's Magnus, whether it's the Atlas, whether it is the Privilege, whether it is Select, or any of the other Axis Atlas cards that we discussed, the links to apply to these cards are in our YouTube description. Take a look at them. You can apply directly from those YouTube links. Please keep in mind that these are our referral links, so we can get comped when you apply through these links. We hope you're enjoying the episode. And do share your experiences once you've gotten these cards. We'd love to hear back from you, and we'd love to learn and celebrate your experiences going forward on and off the show. Hello and welcome to the Great Indian Points and Miles Show. Got a very exciting episode today. We're here to talk about the entire Axis ecosystem. We recently shipped an episode on the HDFC ecosystem, on the Amex ecosystem, and we got a lot of comments saying that, when are you dropping the Axis episode? And here we are with the Axis one. We've got, due to public demand, we're welcoming back Agarwal Saab. Agarwal Saab, thank you for coming back. We're talking about Sudeep. Sudeep, like you know, he was in one of our earlier episodes. That episode did very well. Sudeep is a staff software engineer at Google, and he's one of our close friends in the Bangalore points and miles circuit. Dhimant, Amya and I have been fortunate enough to know him for a couple of years now. And Sudeep, thank you so much for coming again to the Great Indian Points and Miles Show.
Thank you for having me, Adil.
धीमंत अमया स्वागत है Dobara in the Great Indian Points and Miles show. Amya, short on sleep today. 5 बजे कुछ escalation आ गया था. And then...
Yeah, we are shooting this episode purely on adrenaline. So let's hope it goes well.
All right. So with that, we'll get started. So first steps first, let's talk about our Axis stack currently. Sudeep, let's get started with you. What's your Axis card stack today looking like?
Okay, so one of the good thing about Axis is you know how many cards you can have. So you can have 3 cards at any given point of time. Apart from people who are migrated from Citibank, that's a separate equation. They might have 4 cards in a way. So 3 cards that I have right now in my wallet is the Axis Atlas, the Go To Travel card, Axis Vistara Infinite, just for the Air India status, and Magnus Burgundy for my regular data dispense. So yeah, I also had a few other Axis cards. We can talk about that later maybe. But yeah, you can only have 3. So these are 3 right now.
A very important question. When is the renewal of the Vistara card? Or when was the renewal of the Vistara card?
So the renewal is in October. And I don't know what's going to happen that time.
So it's safe to say that you at least have the Air India Gold status till October then?
Till 2026 actually.
Till 2026?
October 2026.
October 2026. So it's a year after the card anniversary?
So it was supposed to be till October 2025. But in November 2024, they announced that they are extending the gold status by 1 more year. I think for everyone. So yeah, that got extended to 2026 now.
So does that mean that you'll continue to hold this card till 2026? Because there are a few things that could pan out in Axis. What I am thinking or what I'm feeling, and I'd love how y'all are thinking about this also. I think just yesterday, Air India Axis has sent an email to all their customers saying that effective immediately going forward, all the cards that will renew will be renewed for free. Secondly, you will not get the status benefit of gold. You will not get the ticket vouchers. Your points will continue to accrue as flying return Maharaja Club points, but you will not get any other benefits and the card will be free. Which means that sooner or later, with some bank or the other, an Air India card is in the offing. And if an Air India card is in the offing and it comes with any other bank, then obviously you'll switch to that bank, provided they give you the gold status. If not, then what happens is my question.
If not, the problem is that I have gotten myself and my wife used to accessing the Maharaja Club lounge and the gold privileges. And I have to see how to recover from that trauma that I don't have.
Like Adil always says, the Benedosa, you'll miss the Benedosa
everything,
at the lounge.
Everything. He wrote Benedict and the Benedosa, yeah.
Yeah, but I have on a very lighter note, I'm missing Santosh right now because he used to tease me a lot because I missed on that card on time to get the gold status. But I'll tell you what I think, right, about this entire Vistara, Air India, Vistara Gold Khichdi, right? I feel the transition could have been far smoother. I think the transition, it was never going to be smoother because the scale of the business and I personally feel that at a scale of Vistara Gold, the Gold Star Gold Alliance, it was never going to be easy to give gold status to so many people. So sooner or later, it was going to be deprecated. I think the question was how many people can enjoy that status for a year. And if you are one of those who has crazy travel plans this year and you can continue to maintain that gold status, that would I feel is the bonus in my view. Otherwise, I just feel that just get over with the 1 year of bonus and get habituated to it.
Yeah.
Here's my take, right? And I could be proven wrong. Whatever new co-branded cards come out, I heavily doubted that they will give you gold status. None of the cards will give it. It's not even a hot take at this moment.
Yeah.
In fact, I will also be surprised if they even give a silver status, the way I'm looking at it. Let's see how it pans out. Yeah. My expectation is they will give cards for pure accrual. They might have milestone benefits for vouchers and whatnot, but I feel that they're not going to be giving away statuses for free. If anything, maybe silver status at most. Volto is not going to happen.
See, I feel that the Axis Vistara Infinite card was the lone warrior because even in the past 5 years or so, I think at least till the time I remember, there was not a single card that was giving you gold every year, minus this card, right? So even the IndusInd card, I think IndusInd card has it.
They used to give for 1 year.
1 year, right? And then it used to get expired after 1 year. I think in my head, I think it was an exclusive partnership that they had, which was a very deep partnership with Vistara, etc. But I think eventually it was going to go at some point of time.
And even if you compare and contrast with the other Star Alliance partners across the world, right? There's very few cards which will just get you like a Star Gold just for holding a card. It's a rare thing.
The Emirates one is really attractive then. Still.
Yeah, I think right now there's only the Emirates one and then the SBI Singapore but that requires a huge spend on Singapore Airlines for.
Oh yeah, that's 7.5 lakh rupees a year spent on Singapore Airlines on the SBI card. And then you will get potentially SQ Gold and that translates.
Yeah, thoda sa yahan pe, I have a philosophical challenge and a debate in my own head. I'm just going to bring it up to see what you guys feel, right? And again, I have been conflicted about it, right? Because I've started as somebody who started from a mid-tier, entry-level cards and slowly climbed up the ladder. And most of us do, right? I feel there should be statuses which are earned only. Right, and the reason I feel that way is because the moment you make it open for being easily buyable, it turns out to be not so attractive a status. Now it's a conundrum, right? Now, if everybody starts getting a particular status, now for example, and again in transparency we should discuss, let's say Accor Gold for example, right? It's very common now because of the fact that they made it easy to achieve. Now, in our heads, we all feel that okay, Accor Gold nahi Accor Platinum hona chahiye. So in one way, you have kind of probably degraded your own.
Do you still feel that you're probably 2% of the market, Dima?
So I'm conflicted. I don't know the answer.
Because if you think about so many people who have access to travel and so many people who actually book travel, still book travel through tourism companies, travel agents, and then OTAs. And therefore, they are not going to enjoy the status benefits. There are very few people who actually book direct. And there's a very small section of people who are trying to optimize for status. So I think we're still a niche. There are businesses being built on these niches. Like Status Match is a business that thrives on this particular niche.
See, okay, let's talk about this interesting example, right? Let's say that in a particular airline, you have a separate queue for faster boarding, right? Let's take an example. I mean, it's hypothetical. It's not real. And let's say only the platinum customers get to board from that line. And you love that because there are only 2 people standing in that queue. If there are 10 more people who join, the queue becomes longer, right? Eventually what will happen is either you don't value that benefit anymore or you are going to deprecate that benefit over a period of time and keep it more elite. So I'm saying it's a conundrum in my head. I feel the way I think about it is certain statuses should be earned and certain can be offered. For example, the Accor Diamond is a perfect example. I don't think a lot of people who are still enjoying Accor Platinum will reach Accor Diamond because you need to spend a certain set of money. Me and Adil were discussing that day. He's tempted to now attempt the Accor Diamond, right? But it's not easy, right? So I personally feel that we should draw a line between which statuses can be earned and which can be easily taken.
Well, I think it is inevitable, right? Because from a business perspective as well, businesses want to ensure they give their loyalty to their most loyal customers.
Yeah.
I think, I don't know if you remember, after the last the elections, there was a picture of Modi at the swearing-in ceremony and he was not smiling. And there's a meme saying, "Arey yaar, 10 saal kaam kiya hai, I'm still PM, I'm not senior PM yet." So basically, I think the value of the statuses is going to, see, there's 2 ways at it. It's either companies restrict the number of people who are able to get a status or the value of the status itself gets...
No, but I don't want to get it confused between elitism, right? I'm not talking about elitism here, Adil, right? I'm talking about the fact that the reason I want that status of loyalty to be kept away from probably getting it with a card is what Amaya mentioned, right? You want your most loyal customers to also feel welcomed by that loyalty. I want to keep that pristine level for somebody who manages to travel Singapore consistently with his own money Like he deserves probably a loyalty that he wants to make sure he has it.
उसके लिए PPS क्लब है सिंगापुर में.
And that is why I love Singapore Airlines का ये program. It's a very nice idea that you still kept a separate tier altogether.
So back to mere mortals like us, I think for us we have a simple equation. What is our travel plan in the next 1 year or 2 years? उसके लिए कहाँ optimize करना है? मेरे लिए simple है. Love with Emirates, so Emirates Gold is important. Figure out a way to get Emirates Gold. 2, now thanks to Axis Bank, relationship with Accor is special. Figure out a way to optimize status on Accor. So long as we are solved for these two, we really don't care about other statuses because these will solve 80% of our problems the way I see it.
Because I have had this question for the longest period of time, and maybe you guys also have a point of view on this. I'm sure a lot of audience still doesn't know this, right? We've spoken about alliances in the past, Adil, right? How a star alliance is so powerful. Help me understand this, right? If I hold a status of one of the star alliance partners, which is gold, does it mean that I'm going to enjoy gold status in every airline of star alliance, or is it like how does it work? Like
for example, if you have Air India Gold, you're automatically getting access to SQ Gold, which means that you get access not only for yourself but also for your partner who's traveling with you in SQ lounges. You get priority boarding, you get priority baggage delivery. So I think those are statuses that you can enjoy.
They would respect your Star Alliance status as if you are SQ Gold.
Yeah.
But we spoke about it.
Yeah, they would respect your status, but every airline has different set of offerings.
Correct.
Some would give you the access to their business class lounge directly. Someone would give you access to a simpler lounge maybe. You'll get something or the other. You'll not get the same level of benefits with ordinary airlines.
Awesome.
You'll get something different. Priority boarding and priority baggage, I think it's fairly common and fairly cheap for them to do.
So I think then it makes most sense to do what Amosh Adil said, right? If you have a certain type of travel in the next 2 years, 1 year, optimize for that airline, become gold in that alliance, and then enjoy it over a period of time with other airlines as and when required. So makes sense, Payal. Yeah.
All right, back to card stack. So your stack, Sudeep, you said was the Atlas, the Magnus Burgundy, and the Vistara Infinite for now. And those are the only 3 cards you can hold in your wallet, and therefore I think you're holding the perfect set of cards. My status is pretty much the same. I refuse to let the Vistara Infinite go. It's my favorite domestic card, and I think I'll continue to hold it until they kick me out of that status, and then we'll figure out what to do next. Amya, आपका कार्ड स्टैक क्या है?
So Axis, I actually am holding only 2 cards right now. I have the Magnus Burgundy and I have the Select, which is a lifetime free. Select I got downgraded from my reserve recently because reserve benefits have stopped. I'm not holding Atlas for a couple of reasons right now. At least right now, I'm not holding Atlas. One is with respect to a lot of spends, generic spends. I have my favorite SBI Air India, which, covers up for that kind of a use case. It's a milestone card, great benefits and regular spends. Travel spends, I've noticed that a lot of my spends lately have been domestic, and I think Magnus Burgundy covers that part reasonably well. So right now, I'm not holding Atlas. The other reason why I'm not holding Atlas also is in anticipation of a third card to add, because as we know, Axis only allows you 3 cards at any given point of time. So I think I'm anticipating between Axis launching Olympus to a broader audience and potentially an Air India card. Let's see what they come out with, but strategy-wise, that's where I am at. Like, this is one thing that I regret. Like, I think I used to hold the City Prestige for a while, and this is again pre-Magnus days, in which it was a very decent card, right? It had reward rates equivalent to what your Atlas gives you. I believe it was 4% miles by default, 1% extra if you were a City Gold member. And not just that, it also had a multiplier benefit with respect to Forex transactions. So it was a great card, number of transfer partners it was, and it was like, it worked on any amount. You didn't need to care about like, hey, the extra 2 rupees, 3 rupees you have to spend. I discontinued it at some point of time post-COVID because, there were moments in which I could not make use of the vouchers that came with it. And I said, okay, in hindsight, it's a move that I would not have done. But I'm waiting for the Olympus to open up again. If it does, or if they come up with a super nice Air India card. That's something that I'm holding.
I'm going to tell you that one, you are not alone in that wait for Olympus. Second, I think the day it comes for broader audience, my prediction is that it will come diluted. Like that's my prediction at least.
So wait, question on behalf of the audience. Can you compare Atlas and Olympus? Joining fees, just apple to apple so that people understand in the current scheme of things, and then reward rate, features, just so that we get a sense of why you haven't gone for the Atlas and why you're waiting for the Olympus.
Sure. So roughly fees-wise, Atlas gives you a 5,000 fees plus taxes. Olympus comes in at about 20K.
It's
So
4x,
a big difference. But I think with both the cards, right, the welcome benefits that you get sort of make up for what you're spending, give or take a little bit. Like I think, of course, you assign a certain value to each thing, but give or take, I think it makes up for it. You get some vouchers and, some points that you add up. It's almost sort of there. Here is how the cards are fundamentally different, right? Number one, Olympus gives you access to a larger quota when it comes to access points. I think that is one reason. So at Atlas, for example, you can only get 30,000 points a year is the quota that you have. Olympus gives you a much bigger quota that you're.
So 30 into 1:2, so 60K you can transfer out max.
Right. Olympus gives you a larger quota over there. So that is reason number one. Reason number two, Olympus doesn't give you the, roughly 10 air miles for 100 rupees that Atlas gives you on travel spends. However, Olympus has a nice benefit on Forex spends in which you get a multiplier effect over there. The other good thing about the Olympus card is they've got a third night free offering that you can book through a bunch of OTAs. So essentially you spend 3 nights and you're only paying for 2 nights. I think this benefit one can, optimistically make good use of to taking hold of, all the double dips that you can do. I feel that if you're not spending a lot, it's probably not worth it. But it's a card that one can make good use of, I think, if you're able to use it well. So I have not entirely decided, but I'm keeping that option open because I don't have a pressing need anyway. I think I have my bases covered.
I'm going to go on a limb and say that the single most reason why you should get the Olympus is probably the Group A limit. I like personally, if you ask me, one more thing I think which Amay you missed is I think airport transfers still exist for Olympus, which does not exist for most other cards. Now, the way I think it is still a very expensive card. Like I personally feel that minus the Group A quota, I don't see a very concrete reason why somebody would want to spend 20,000. But honestly, I feel, I'm again going to repeat it for what I feel, right? I feel that if it opens up, it will come diluted. It was done specifically, the generous Group A limit is given because of they want to just give that extended welcome to the Citibank customers is what I feel. And if it comes to the opening, it is going to get devalued 100%. There is no reason for you to have a limit which is more generous than a Burgundy private card. How does it make sense? It's not going to happen. So let's be honest. I think the Olympus will not remain Olympus when it opens up to everybody else. At least that's my take.
Let's just hope the product managers disagree with you for our benefit. I know it sounds counterintuitive, but Axis has been Axis in the past.
No, but Adil, hear me out. If they do this, you take the card and it devalues after 3 months, will you feel more cheated? Or will you rather say कि भाई ये लाओ ही मत दो ही मुझे? Because this is what has happened in the past. If you opened up a too generous a limit, you know that it will get devalued in 3. This is what happened with a lot of people who bought the reserve. They spent 50,000 and then it got devalued, right? So
I think it will be fun one day to get a couple of bankers to sit with us and explain how they think about these products. Because there are so many products and these things can be complicated, right? I mean, Axis and Citibank is a huge merger. And there are so many things and so many products, and cards are one area of their stack and they have so many stacks. Now in this, there are so many potential possibilities. The question is at what level of priority are they trying to solve for, and what's the basket of customers, personas, so on and so forth. So we never know. But again, very rational thoughts, Dimant. Agree with you, but the brain wants to agree with you. The heart doesn't. The heart is still my heart is saying, "Aare aane do yaar, le lenge, maze kar lenge," and then we'll figure after that. So let's come to you. Let's talk about your Axis stack.
yeah, so very interesting thing happened with me. sorry for the thoda sa story hai. I felt that I had a dream combo of 4 cards at one point of time in my stack, right? So I had the Vistara Infinite, I had the Reserve, I had the Magnus, the 25,000 Magnus, and I had the Atlas.
How did you get 4?
Exactly. So just before, I think this was November when the Magnus was giving that 25,000 wala bonus. Us time pe 4 cards allowed the. So just when I got the 4th card, I think 1 mahine baad they stopped that. So I got the Atlas as the 4th card. In the app, they offered me the card. So I got a message saying you have a pre-approved Atlas. In 30 seconds, I just said yes and it came immediately to me. And I think uske immediately 30 days baad that got discontinued. So that's how I had 4 cards. And the reason I got 4 cards from Atlas is because us saal I knew that there was going to be a massive, I had some large spends coming up because of somebody's marriage and few other things. And us time pe Axis mein exclusions bahut kam the. So the way I used the Axis ecosystem is that Vistara Infinite was largely for the business tickets and ensuring that I get that entire treatment of a gold customer. The Magnus was used largely to collect the 25,000 points. I didn't have a plan honestly to what to do. The Italy trip was still not planned at that point of time. So it came handy because for that. But that's the second thing that I did. And third was the Reserve, which largely solved the problem for aapka reserve, the Forex transaction, because that year I also had a lot of travel. So I remember when we did the Italy trip, I spent 6 lakhs in the Italy trip. It was insane. Like the amount of spends that happened. It's a very expensive country. And getting 2x on Forex was so sweet. Right? I should feel so good after getting those points, right? Because anyways, you're going to spend that money, right? Get that sweetness out of it. So that's been my stack. But now if you ask me currently, I discontinued the Atlas on my name. So I have an Atlas which my father has because of he wanted some extra cards, etc. So he has got the Atlas. I also use as add-on of the same card, and I personally have the Burgundy Private and I have the Magnus Burgundy. These are the 2 cards I have.
Okay, that rounds up our card stack. I think largely similar, most of us. I think pretty much everyone wants to double down on Magnus Burgundy, which is like the highest rewarding card today. The Atlas is a no-brainer for most of us who want to kind of get started in the premium game. The Select is an interesting card, like Amaya talked about. It's a very good card to enter the swim lanes. I want to ask a question. What do you all think about the Privilege card? And what are your thoughts there? Because a lot of people are trying to figure out how do you get started in this game, and getting a Magnus Burgundy or an Atlas also for that matter is not easy. Axis does hold these very close to its heart and does not make it available for the rest of the people.
For the right reasons.
Yeah, obviously, and rightly so. But if one has to break through, there has to be a plan. What's the plan? Like if I don't hold any Axis card today, let's say I don't have any Axis banking relationship today, what card should I potentially attempt? What is the easiest to get? And then in what realistic timeline can I potentially aim for something like the Atlas? Open question.
I've held the Select, I've held the Privilege, I've held Vistara ke the basic cards, not the Infinite, for all of them. The economy one, the premium economy version, all of them. And the only 2 cards I haven't held is the My Zone and the Ace card, right? And honestly, the features they come with, they're fully loaded. Like I've been tempted to get that card LTF, honestly. So if I feel that if you're a starter and if you don't have any travel plans and if you still want to go with, let's say, some Axis cards, go with the My Zone LTF and Ace. They come out with these offers almost every year. These are very good cards. They have great offers with Swiggy, Zomato, some of these tie-ups that they have are very good, right? They also have some OTT benefits like Sony Live ka subscription. So it's a very good starter card. So anybody who comes to me saying, okay, I want my first Axis card, I generally recommend that card. But if somebody wants to get into the travel game, I feel the Select and Privilege are the deadly combo, right? And again, these are not still that easy to get. Like we were just discussing before this episode, how even Privilege cards get, rejected sometimes. So Select and Privilege have got 2 sweet spots. One, they have a great joining bonus. So you are fully compensated for what you pay. Hence, if I'm not mistaken, the Privilege card comes with a 1,500 fee and they give you 12,500 edge rewards. The Select card, on the other hand, comes with a 3,000 rupee benefit and they give you 10,000 entry edge rewards. Now, these edge rewards do not convert at a 5:4 or a 5:2. They convert is to 10:1 if I'm not mistaken, for miles. Again, I could get corrected here, but I think that's the ratio that they offer. Also, or 5:1. I'm not really sure. What is it? Is it 5?
It depends on card to card. There's some with a 5, there is some with a 10.
Correct. And however, if you collected a lot of miles and if you ever upgrade to a Magnus Burgundy later, these points stand. So which means that you could potentially collect 100,000 miles on edge rewards on a privilege and a select put together. And when you get the Magnus Burgundy, they will convert at 5:4 or 5:2.
Well, that's how it stands right now. I just want to make sure this is not advice in any phase.
Correct. Yeah. So, what I mean to say is if you're invested in the ecosystem and if you want to collect those edge rewards. So, I remember 5 years back, Axis Bank was one of the first banks to start a integrated reward system. They said, आप debit card spend करो, आप credit card spend करो, आप banking transactions करो, we'll keep giving you edge rewards. And that's a single currency. I don't think any other bank had a single currency at that point of time. So I loved it because they used to have this beautiful pie chart which would show कि मैंने debit card से कितना जमा किया है, मैंने how much have I accumulated through credit card, how much through banking transactions. And by the way, a lot of people still don't know it. At that point, there was even a feature to transfer edge rewards to each other in the family. So I have collected edge rewards for my wife and my father and I have transferred it to when I had select. And I have even used those rewards. Now it's no longer allowed, but those were the good old.
If it were allowed now, oh boy,
it would be here.
Oh boy.
That's why we should not.
You talk about the reward scheme across the board, and there is this happy incident that I ended up chancing upon. So, Axis Bank used to give a 1% edge rewards back on their debit cards, and at one point of time there were no exclusions whatsoever. Not just this. They also had a 2x in your birthday month.
That is so cool. And this month, you've never mentioned this in all these years of us knowing each other.
The transfer of edge rewards?
Yeah.
Oh, I by the way, I still have that graph which shows that DC, CC, banking and transfer from a relative. There is in the buyer.
Relative?
मतलब father, no?
मैं भी relative ही हूँ आपका यार, क्या कर रहे हो? दूर के रिलेटिव है अपन. This is a call out to Zain and Dhwani. So Dhimant and I figured out that both of our cousins fell in love and married each other. तो हम भी दूर के रिश्तेदार हैं अभी. So thanks to Zain and Dhwani, both of us are रिश्तेदार.
I'll pass on some edge rewards and you can pass on some Emirates miles to me.
Yeah, we can talk about it. But anyways, let's.
So I like to add to what Dhiman said that you don't have to have the best access card to get the best ratio. You can keep on collecting because anyway, if you start your journey with Axis or any other bank, you are not gonna be able to redeem your points tomorrow. You need some time, and in that time, make sure you move all your spends to the cards that you've newly got. Right, that builds a relationship with the bank. You get chances of an upgrade. Either on the app or some offer or some LTF thing. And especially since we're talking about Axis, keep one slot empty. And as he said about the sign-up bonuses, there are good cards like the Samsung card. I think they have 2 or 3 variants and each come with the different sign-up bonuses. The good part is all the points are collected in the same bucket. Now the day you get a better card, say even the regular Magnus, not even the Magnus Burgundy, your transfer changes to 5:2 for all the points you have.
That's still a great card, right? That's still a great card because the benefit still applies, right? Of 1 point, if you spend more than 1.5 a month, then you get that extended 14%.
Little less, but yeah.
But this will convert to 7%.
But this is 7%, yeah.
Right, but 7% on Magnus is a crazy return if you think about it.
It's easier to get than other high-end cards of other banks.
Yeah.
I let me add to that, right? Sorry, I know it's an Axis episode, but I want to talk about it in HDFC. My journey has been such, right? So I've used basic cards of Axis, HDFC, and I started with the Regalia. I spent almost 3 years with Regalia. I collected 100,000 points, right? They're very fair. I think HDFC's process are well set, right? So it got converted to the Diners Black at 50% ka points it got converted, or Infinia when you move, right? Or if you have a DCB, it converts 1:1. So in that sense, it makes a lot of sense to collect this, right? Banks are fair to transfer these points to the next available card in the right ratio. So मेरा suggestion ये है for all starters, don't keep thinking about in your dreams about Infini all the time. It's okay, have the Regalia Gold. You don't even need to make the transfer when you have the Regalia Gold. You can to accord technically because it's a great ratio for a Regalia Gold. But if you don't want to go, wait for that transfer to Infinia if you don't have, like, you can wait, right? Technically, it's a great idea. Same thing has happened for me in Axis, and hence I would recommend strongly to any starter that stop worrying about the ratios. See, like we say, no? Very funny thing, right? I keep giving this comparisons to investment, right? The same thing is true for people who are there, not even started their SIP. They're like, I want the best fund. I don't care. Just start an SIP, dude. When you're new, don't worry about the ratio. Worry about collecting those miles and then worry about whether I have the most efficient ratio or not. At least get into the travel game.
Basically, Reman is saying, Neki kar darya mein dal. We'll figure out. Abhi Delhi dur hai. We'll figure out when to redeem.
You
But
have
coming back,
an Excel sheet. Can you share an Excel sheet with all those Hindi proverbs with us so that we can use it in some of our future?
No, but on the Samsung card, on the Samsung card, I was saying one very interesting benefit, and it's something that I've used very well in the past, is they have a multiplier on Forex. So you get extra reward points when you make any foreign spends. They do have a 3% plus GST Forex charges, but evaluate, it can sometimes be worth it.
Hey, if it's okay, I want to just take like 60 seconds talk about this Forex thing, because I think the most asked question, Adil, when people go on foreign trips is this.
let's talk about this. This will be a fun one, yeah.
Like, what card should I swipe, right? And what is the right combo? So I have two suggestions which I generally give. And again, I'm open to your suggestions as well. One, take the hit on the rate of Forex and earn rewards. For me, the ratio is that as long as you're earning 2-3%, it makes sense. So I would choose a card in which the delta of the reward rate minus your Forex fees is at least 3%. That's one suggestion I have. It is less than 3%. I generally say, go with a zero Forex card, right? My suggestion, like again, because that 2% bhi kabhi na, in that currency transfer just goes away. It looks like you got some 2%, 1%, but the currency transfer mein thoda sa rates take that away. And the second suggestion I always have is, if you are an entry-level starter, if you don't have a card with great Forex fees or let's say great rewards, I always recommend a zero Forex card, right? So zero Forex card mein there have been a lot of cards that we talk about, right? There's the Scapia card, for example, now which gives zero Forex. It's free of cost, right? LTF hai. There was an RBL card, I think Safari, which I've not mistaken. There was a card, a co-branded card, I think Ixigo, if I'm not mistaken. Ixigo, which is easily, I think there was some issue with existing AU customers, but otherwise if you get the card, it's very easy to get. And
AU has some painful processes, but it's a very nice card.
Very nice card.
It's a nice UPI card also, by the way.
So what do you guys think? For me, I think the reserve makes more sense because it was 6% reward rate. It was plus 2x. So 12%, and I think 2% was the Forex fee. So 10%, it was a no-brainer. So, like, what do you guys think? How do you guys?
Yeah, I think it's the same math that I also do. Like, if, as you said, if I'm earning 2% or more, that's the thing.
So I have a few points that I do want to consider here, right? On a foreign trip, reliability is very important. So number one, I will want to have cards on multiple networks.
Fair.
And I will want to avoid cards like anything on the Diners network and so on.
Amex.
Because Amex also. Amex still depend on where you are. In the US, you'll mostly have it, but otherwise. But yeah, I think what's important is have cards across the network. So Amex, Diners, slightly avoidable. Visa, MasterCard are great. If you have across network is the best, number one. Number two, a Forex card, I would still end up carrying one. Even if I don't have too much currency in it. Typically the one in which you load in US dollars is the one where you have the smallest cuts. Take that extra hit. Just for the sole reason that sometimes you need to have a little cash on you. No matter what, you want to feel that little bit of security that I want to have some cash. And then post all of this, you say that you are going to a place which is, reasonably reliable merchant. I don't mind spending on it. Please, by all means, just use a card that gives you great rewards. But I think it's a bit of a layering strategy. So I do want to have options which are relatively safe. And then on top of that, take a Forex card. And then you can take a card that gives you rewards or, zero Forex.
I think you make a very good point here. One, I think there's a layer of rewards. Then there's a layer of reliability, which is networks and which networks to carry. I agree with you. At least I think make sure that you have at least a Visa and a Master. And then I think one thing which Adil spoke in one of our earlier episodes is the whole thing around
Virtually very shady. Yeah. And where he could make Amex as a primary card because the chargeback, if the issuer offers a great chargeback mechanism, it's also a great thing. Because I've seen you go to a lot of shady merchants and you don't know whether online order करने पे कुछ risk है नहीं है. I think these are a great solution. That way, plat charge actually works out reasonably well because while it is 3x, but 3.5% with the 6. So I think it sort of balances itself out. But I think it's a good card to use at places where you're not sure whether you want to get your card, cloned over there or not.
But the dilemma is that a lot of such players also do accept Amex.
So as to say, dilemma that
generally face. In the US, it may be easy, but maybe in a Europe or some cases, Southeast Asia also, I've seen Amex getting not accepted very easily.
So I'll tell you the way I think about it, right? I want to have at least 3 cards when I'm traveling internationally, just for peace of mind. I'll give you an example. So went to London. The way the trains and metros work there is beautiful. You don't need to buy tickets. Of course, there are ticket counters and you can go and buy. But if you have a credit card, tap the credit card, gate opens, take the train or metro wherever you're going to. At the exit, tap the card again, you get out. Okay. So I was doing this for quite some time, obviously using Magnus Burgundy. At one point just happened, for some reason, Axis Bank decided to block my card. This is 7 days into the trip, randomly, due to security reasons. Arey, ab kya karu? Ab to phas gaye. Luckily, normally, so I don't carry any cash. In spite of people like you, Ameya, constantly telling me, my father also telling me, carry cash, it helps. I am an anti-cash guy. I will never have cash. Somehow, I feel like it's weird carrying cash. I'm always carrying cards. Luckily, I had 2 more cards in my card wallet, which sticks to my phone. वो ICICI Emirates था, उसको tap किया तो gate open. So that kind of really helped. Second, like you said, I'm always wary about where I'm swiping what card. So whichever merchant, if it's a small establishment where I'm not sure about or anything that even is remotely suspicious, points go out of the window, peace of mind is more important, out comes the Amex plat charge. Why Amex plat charge? Now, you explained 3x, so you get 7.5% points. But 3.5% plus GST, so you're losing 4%. You're gaining net 3.5%. I don't think that's a gain because you don't value Amex points as highly because they converted 2:1 for airlines. So I think net, you gain nothing, you pay nothing. What it can do is it helps you potentially complete milestones or spends on that card so that Amex gets a sense of how much you're spending. 2, it gives you peace of mind and guarantee. चलो मैंने क्रेडिट कार्ड पे किया है, चलो कुछ ना कुछ तो वापस आया है, चलो कुछ तो spend milestone हो गया है. If you have enrolled for one of those Amex spend based offers, you can potentially get something back, and you end up feeling safe. Now, for some reason, if Amex does not work and your access is blocked, you want to carry your Infinia or you want to carry your ICICI just to ensure that your HDFC still has that global cashback program where you can get $1,000 back per month, and that can potentially be helpful.
So if I were to recommend, because when I go back in time and think about when I didn't have some of these premium cards, how I used to think about this was very simple. I would say with the HDFC global cashback program, I'm just happy that I'm getting that 1% back, and I would live with that. So I think at that time we didn't have this lot of LTF cards which had 0 Forex. But now I feel that if you're a starter, go with something like a Scapia, I feel.
Yeah, absolutely.
It makes more sense now, and don't try to optimize for rewards every damn place, right? So
for the viewers, I'll again summarize. Entry level, you're going to have Scapia, which is a decent card. You're going to have the RBL World Safari, which is sort of mid-entry level, but is good. AUXC was the third one. The other one that I'll call out, and especially for the first year offer, is the IDFC Mayura. They also have 0 Forex. You can earn rewards and Forex spends. They do have a bit of a joining fees that you can sort of make up with a few transactions, and depends on the offer, whatever is running at whatever point of time. But it's a nice card to keep for 1 year. It's also a nice metal card, feel really nice. So IDFC Mayura.
And among these banks that you mentioned, I think the IDFC is also has good processes and good tech. So which means that it's like kind of easy to use and
Oh yeah. And like generally easy to use, easy to get, process is like straightforward. So I think these are definitely good cut. Higher end, more premium ones, you obviously got Infinia/Diners with global value. Again, Diners I will not always recommend because there have been places where it will not get accepted. In fact, I've heard horror stories, but incidents like say Sri Lanka as a country, they have pretty much no access to Diners network.
oh, same as with Dubai, no? I mean, recently I don't know, but at least when I went, the Diners was not accepted anywhere. Dubai is one of the major countries where Diners wasn't accepted.
So I know someone who took the Diners base, what is the Marriott card, HDFC Marriott, and with the hope that okay, there's free lounge access and whatnot, and it was getting accepted nowhere. And I think that's one story to be told. With respect to Forex, I'll tell you a few more ones on the higher side, right? So you have Samsung Infinite if you can work it out. But if not, a reserve, if you're already holding it for whatever reason, it has got 2x on Forex, that is good. Magnus Burgundy, if you're an AEP, is anyway good. Infinia in this thing is good. SBI Chrysler, the one that you hold, Adil, that's got 2x. Got a high rate, but I think you can make it to work potentially.
One total bummer on Forex fee is Atlas.
Yeah.
Total bummer.
4%, right?
Like you're going outside, you want to spend on travel, you have a multiplier, but you can't use it because it's 4% plus GST. Yeah, I mean, it's insane. Like, why would you
It's
have
like
a card?
5% दे रहे हो, मतलब दिल से.
हमारा जो उसको
Is it
बोलते हैं ना
4% or is it 3.5 plus?
3.5
I think 3.5 plus.
What about the HSBC travel one?
I don't remember the travel, but HSBC got mid-level. Like even the Premier one has got like a 1.5-2% kind of. Okay.
By the way, very interestingly, I think a lot of people still don't know it. Atlas has had issues with certain airline partners where it doesn't work clearly. For example, Lufthansa is one known
Cathay
case.
also.
Cathay, I'm not sure, but Lufthansa पे तो पक्के से वो
Cathay used to run this offer that on revenue tickets you would get like a 10% off with Access card. They have some partnership going on. It is still there.
yeah, I remember there's a offer, yeah.
And a lot of people tried to think that, oh, there's a double dip, I'm going to buy this and then suffered for it. Not just that, but even if you're doing Cathay, what the MCC was not airline. The MCC is not airline, there's two agents.
And the second funny incident was this entire piece around because I was going to Vietnam recently and I read that Flying Blue Pay you can book Vietnam Airlines for internal Vietnam transfer and Amaya, the other Amaya on Twitter, right? He had mentioned that when he had booked the ticket and he paid the taxes via Atlas. When he reached there, the ticket was no longer valid and because apparently the card issuer has rejected and it's not, I thought it's an isolated incident. And then I realized that multiple people have had the same issue where the Flying Blue has cancelled the ticket and they're not even informed them that your ticket is cancelled. So luckily when I was booking, मेरे को ये मालूम पड़ा from a few people. So I used a non-Axis card. I don't know what's the issue. Axis, if you're listening, please solve this because this is crazy. Like, and again, this is genuine customers who have booked. They don't know that the ticket has got cancelled. And he ended up buying a ticket afterwards on revenue, which can be hurtful. So, yeah.
No, but I think Flying Blue also is known for a bunch of problems, like a big lack of transparency. There have been multiple people who have had issues with respect to, the airline thinking that there is a fraud transaction going on or, hey, you're getting points from somewhere and stuff. So I think for people, one thing is just be careful. Don't book on behalf of others and stuff. But on the other hand, please do double check. They're not a very transparent airlines. A lot of the European airlines are a little nasty that way. But be careful.
I'm just summarizing for what I said about Atlas. I think there are a bunch of airlines जहाँ पे it either doesn't get accepted or they have had issues. So if you're booking, let's say, Flying Blue and Lufthansa, please do not use the Atlas. I don't know if the problem will get corrected by the time the episode ships out, but at least right now, it is an issue. And again, I don't know what is the issue because it's whether it's a security related protocol because of which the transaction gets cancelled, etc. I'm not sure. So,
all right, that is. Let's come to our next segment. Our next segment is now. Let's talk about Axis Bank's reward currencies. You've got two reward currencies. You've got Edge Rewards and you've got Edge Miles. In these, again, for most of our viewers who are new, we want to get into details and explain why are there two different reward currencies? Why should we look at these two? and then go one level deeper, because there are two reward currencies, but in that there are two segments. There is something called Group A, there is something called Group B. So at the top, you've got a banking program with credit cards. In that, you've got two reward currencies. In that, you've got two groups, Group A, Group B. In that, you have limits. Now, when you're planning your redemptions, you've got to keep all of these in mind. Otherwise, you won't be able to plan it to the T. So for that, let me go back to the most scientific calculator on the planet that I know of. His name is Ameya.
To be pedantic before anything else, there's the third currency. Some of the fuel cards that they have, I don't remember or I think it's called extra rewards or something like that. And by the way, I think some of the cards which got converted from the Citibank one, supposedly they've got like insane reward rates for fuel.
Hey, but like before Amaya starts this, I have like a very funny short thing that I want to say, right? I genuinely feel like I people who know me, I hate cognitive load. I hate cognitive load. Anytime I have to decide and I have to make like 10 minutes, I have to spend thinking कि ये करना है, वो करना है. Like I get pissed, right? Imagine that chai conversion of two product managers. आज cognitive load बढ़ाते हैं. आज एक नया चीज इंट्रोड्यूस करते हैं, ग्रुप ए ग्रुप बी. क्यों चाहिए ग्रुप ए ग्रुप बी? Don't find an easier way, but yeah, I mean, go ahead.
No, but I think to that point, I mean, that's the beauty of the credit cards here, right? The asymmetry is what, lets you find these sweet spots and get to value something.
I hate it, but I hate it.
It is terrible for a consumer, but like, I mean, that's where you find value sometimes.
It will sound socialist, but I'll tell you my problem, right? I have a problem with any platform or any such currencies or any places where the difference is created by not knowing or becoming too ignorant, right? See, the problem is that you are taking away knowledge to the hands of certain few people who are more, who like this stuff. Right? A simple example would be, there is a reason why a platform like Flipkart and Amazon have stayed away from coupon codes. Why? Because the information asymmetry creates that difference, right? Imagine how you would feel the moment you know that, oh shit, I bought this, but I did not know the coupon code. I don't want to. Like, I just give away the discount to everybody on the planet. I don't care. I'll give 1% less discount, but मैं सबको दूंगा. Like, there's a similar situation I feel it happens when you try to create a group A, group B, too much of asymmetry over here, then there are certain set of people who get access to more information, and then you have to do podcasts like this to give away this information.
But then there is the other side of you who also uses top cashback.
Yeah.
So,
but we tell other people.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, there are constraints, and banks build constraints not to complicate things, but because people misuse things. And access mein misuse, we are all aware, has been abundant. So to prevent that misuse, came Group A and Group B. Nahi to Group A, Group B tha nahi pehle. It was like you could transfer to whoever you want. But having said that, let's come back to the most calculative person I know who's great with dissecting all this information and presenting a use case. Ameya, over to you.
Yeah, sure. So let's get into some of this, right? So Axis, fundamentally, all their currencies are the following. You've got the edge rewards, which are essentially reward points that you can convert into air miles, whatnot, that you get on most cards. So, this is with your Magnus Burgundy, this is with respect to your Magnus, Select, Samsung. It's the default currency when it comes to reward points for most Axis cards. Number 2, you have something called edge miles. Edge miles is something that's applicable for Atlas as well as some of the converted cards. So your Olympus, Horizon, and all have got edge miles. There is fuel cards which have a currency of their own that I mentioned. And then obviously the last set is you've got a bunch of these cashback cards in which, you get cashback kind of returns. For instance, one of the most beautiful cards in the Axis table is the Axis Flipkart card. And I think we should definitely, if you're talking of Axis, do a deep dive into that. And then, so getting back into the currency, each of these currencies, so your edge rewards, edge miles, and as well as the fuel currency, you are allowed to transfer them into a number of your reward partners. So you've got differing transfer ratios depending on the card you hold, depending on the top end cards that you hold. It could be as much as 5-4, some of it is 5-2, some of it is 5-1, some of it is 10-1. So they've got wide variety of transfer ratios across the board. Same is the case with respect to your this thing. Atlas and Olympus, they've all got like, different sets of transfer ratios that are there. There is also a notion of limits. So as you said, we've got your transfer partners, but they're grouped into, there's a set of partners under group A, and then there's a set of partners into group B. So group A are typically the more lucrative partners. And what Axis basically says is that every year, depending on the card that you're holding, you are allowed to transfer a max of X amount of points to all partners under group A, and then there is a much bigger quota with respect to group B. So from a practical perspective, what you are saying is that there is a group A in which you can transfer up to a certain amount of points every year. That is like 30,000 points for Atlas. That's like 200,000 points for Magnus Burgundy. I think it's 100,000 for regular Magnus, and there's limits across the board. And then for everything else, you transfer into what is the group B set of partners, which is things like your Flying Blue, Club ITC, Qantas. They're the big list that is there out there. So I think that's a broad summary with respect to what are the different currencies, what are the different partners, what are the different types of partners, and what are the different transfer ratios. And you can look up the exact ones on the terms and conditions. We don't want to be read out this card as this card as this video, but yeah.
But see, I'll tell you what I feel, right? So, Adil, if you look at, let's say, the group A, group B grouping, right? And very interesting, I spoke about why that's not a great construct, but I feel the way Axis has thought about it, and rightly so, right? Because of the misuse that was happening, what they've probably done is because they buy these points from various partners, miles and points from various partners, right? So they have a buy price for each currency. For example, they would buy an Accor point from Accor at a certain price. What they looked at is looked at the most expensive miles and currencies that they buy. And they also know कि हर customer मुझे कितना profit दे सकता है, Magnus Burgundy customer, right? So and they valued and said, okay, if it's a burn for me, I would restrict my burn to this customer to 30,000 or whatever, right? In Atlas. Now my point is that the construct is beautiful in terms of how they thought about it. But still I feel that I'm very hopeful that this construct will go away. I think you're going to see a slightly different construct going ahead in something like a more integrated construct where you don't have this group A, group B thing. But I think it's a cost-led lens. So it's very fair from an Axis lens when it comes to saying how much will I invest in a customer. But it's unfortunately still...
But here's the thing, right? Like this complexity inevitably ends up in issues and bugs. Like I'm talking of this from a software lens. Why do you need to have so much complexity and then, you miss out on a few edge cases here and there and it leads to abuse?
Exactly my point. You close two things, one more bug or one more, thing opens up, right? So
I think, I do think that, some of it has been reactive. Some of it has been steps taken to stem a certain amount of abuse. But I feel a simpler program is definitely...
I'll give you an example. BizBlack, right? We've spoken about our card a lot, right? A lot of us hold BizBlack. The point collection is pretty easy, right? You get those bonuses, etc. And there is a clear thing which says that you cannot redeem more than 75,000 miles at one point of time. I don't mind it. As long as it is clear. There's only one currency, by the way, to miles right now, which is Singapore Airlines. But I'm clear. I know the use case of that card and I'm clear, right? I don't have to think twice. I can strategize accordingly. There's too much of complexity in, let's say, how you think about it.
हाँ लेकिन हम लोग को मजा
हाँ नहीं मजा भी आता है और हमको बहुत सारा ट्रांसफर चाहिए.
Exactly. I mean, we need volume, right? I mean, if you think about volume, today Axis is the only one that's making sense from a volume perspective, right? I mean, if you have high spend.
The one thing that is in a way beneficial with these two currencies is if you can hold cards from two different sets, one which earns edge rewards and one which earns edge miles. If you are out of quota for one card, at least you can shift your spends to the other card for that year or so and start earning in the other bucket.
So you make an interesting point. I mean, I think at this point we should pause and make that recommendation, I feel. If anybody has to have two cards...
Yeah, get one edge reward, one edge mile.
वो भी clear कर देते हैं ना, वो Atlas ही है. There's Atlas, like basically Atlas, और कुछ नहीं है. So आपको एक Atlas चाहिए ही चाहिए because that opens up 60,000 partner miles for you clearly every year. In Group A, Group B तो और भी है. And
और उसके milestones काफी अच्छे.
And Group B में, the edge rewards में, the ideal card would be Magnus Burgundy. If you cannot get the Magnus Burgundy, privilege is there, select is there. and Magnus plane is there, go for these cards. Samsung is also another option, correct? Yeah.
Right. So now we've spoken about the mechanic of Axis Bank. We've spoken about how there are reward currencies, edge rewards and edge miles. We've spoken about Group A and Group B. And we've spoken about transfer limits. Now, based on this, let's go to each one of us and try and understand. In the last year, where did we send our Group A and Group B? Where are we planning to send this year's Group A or Group B? Or if we have already sent it, where have we sent it? So perhaps we'll start with you, Sudeep, and then tie that into why you did it and how you've deployed it. We already know where you're going, so perhaps tell our audience as well.
Okay. So, I'm going to Japan next month. And I booked the tickets last year on the day the tickets open up. So 360 days in advance, I didn't do that.
Tell us which Singapore Airlines?
Yeah, so I'm going, the onward is on Singapore Airlines, the return is on JAL. Now, Axis has JAL, which is a very beautiful partner. It's one of the few banks across the world. I think only 10 or so have JAL as a partner. So Group A for me depends on my next year's trip. Very honestly, I'm very flexible because Group A is very valuable. You just have a limited amount. So mostly it's a core. It's this way. It's either one airline partner or one hotel partner. That's it. I cannot afford, because of the limits, to have post points to say a hotel partner and a airline partner as well. So most of the times it's a core. Since I have status, I want to utilize the status. I want to stay more in a core. So I mostly move to a core. Or if I have a very hardcore plan, so I wanted tickets to come back from Japan, so I moved to JAL. So that's one. For Group B, it gets very tricky. Group B very honestly has 3 or 4 valuable partners. If you can make sense out of Air India, you can do that. If you can find sweet spots on Qantas, say Emirates has a partner with Qantas and all. So I am still not able to get a good hang of.
Emirates is a partner of JAL as well.
So, yeah. And yeah, by the way, JAL opens up the whole One World suite at a very low taxes and a great
actually, Qatar Q-Suites is a great option.
Yeah.
Via JAL.
Yeah. What I'm doing with Group B, it's not very optimum, but I'm transferring it to ITC, and every quarter I'm transferring it to Marriott.
But that you can only transfer now 10,000, right? So 40K or for a year, but still I do the same.
That's what I'm doing. I'm hoping I have another trip planned. Maybe Adil will invite me to another episode to talk about that trip later after that is done. But I'm waiting for Qantas to open good seats. It is going at a very high rate right now, and I am thinking I have to book some other airlines. No. Qantas on Qantas. So
okay.
For New Zealand or for Australia?
Yeah, but that's why he doesn't want to reveal, because others will book.
I want to book from Sydney to Bangalore, but Qantas is selling at 3 lakh plus per seat right now, and I don't think
business.
For business.
That's crazy high, right?
Yeah, that's crazy.
So then SQ, you can solve for it.
But this is the first
much
class.
easier.
First class.
नहीं SQ Qantas does not have first class from Sydney Bank.
तो SQ तो 120K में हो जाना चाहिए, right? 128.
But I want to utilize my Group B ना. I was thinking that Group B में पड़े हैं. If I can use Qantas, even if I overpay a little bit, but this is not a little bit. This is too much. So this is waste in a way. So net Group A is valuable. So use it if you have plans. I generally don't like to do speculative transfers. So I will either transfer to Accor or to one of the airline programs. Mostly it can be United if you're going somewhere, or if you're SQ, whichever one of the Star Alliance ones, or say Qatar or JAL. So be very careful with your Group A. It's very limited. With Group B, you don't have a lot of options. So in a way, it's something that you can experiment. Say ITC. You can go to Bangalore ITC someplace, even for dinners, you can pay via points. You can buy the ITC Culinaire using points and then get 25% off, 25% if I remember correctly. Yeah, 25% off on dinners at ITC hotels. So you can experiment with the Group B ones, that sort of film. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm exploring ITC in Bangalore. I'm transferring to Marriott.
ITC Grand Bharat is a good property to experiment with. If you just want to do staycations
I'm
in
waiting for
Gurgaon.
that Japanese Edo to.
Edo's great. It's already there.
It's under renovation from a long time.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And
Acha.
I'm waiting for it to open back up. I want to go there.
Dampukht is fantastic.
Dampukht is
if you enjoy
fantastic,
good food,
yeah.
Royal Afghan has, if you enjoy seafood, man, the best seafood.
yeah,
and
go
Royal
even,
Afghan.
more for experimenting
go
right
for
now.
a Windsor Sunday buffet, brunch buffet. These are nice. Like
Sir,
you can just
दक्षिण की
go
थाली भी
and-
बहुत अच्छी है.
Dakshin
South
ki thali is
Indian
very
थाली
good,
अगर
yeah.
आप खाओगे, legendary है.
ITC.
If you feel lazy, you can get food delivered using ITC point.
Yeah, you can. I've done that a couple of times. So they have this combos, especially they have on these festivals and all, they have a lot of combos that they do for combo for 2, combo for 4, and then you can pay everything by
अरे और एक Febel के chocolates. So if you like, they have very good gifting. Like they're fancy boxes, very pretty looking.
You can pay
and-
my points for that?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And they've got
I didn't know.
fantastic hot chocolate. Like if you like the thick wala hot chocolate, not like the Complan wala hot chocolate. Yeah. They have nice, thick ganache type hot
The
chocolate. which is
Windsor
really good.
का जो ITC, the Fabel, there's a store, right?
Boutique. Yeah, Febel
and,
boutique, yeah.
and you can actually try some of their interesting desserts. They do seasonal desserts. Pretty good. Like you should try it out.
Really good croissants as well. If you like Gyan Duja chocolates, really nice ones, like melt in your mouth ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so net, that's the thing. I generally don't transfer to SQ from Axis. I kept my HDFC for that.
So last
But
year,
yeah.
200k, where did you transfer?
Last year, 200k I transferred partially to Jal for whatever. I think I used some 90k or 120k points for my Japan tickets, one way for 2 people. Remaining I transferred to Ekosh. Remaining I always transferred.
That's 80k, no? Like 40k, right?
40, but I 5 to 4, right? So divide by 0.8.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
So that way, I think 100k points. 100k points I transferred to Jal, 100k I transferred to
That
Abba.
is the most amazing redemption. End of story.
This year I transferred, I think 160, 170 something. I had some balance in SQ. So I think for New Zealand it takes 90k per person on business from Bangalore to Auckland. So I transferred everything to SQ. But yeah, I have to look for a car now.
Awesome.
So
awesome.
that's where the edge miles comes into
Yeah,
play.
yeah.
I get Atlas, 60,000
Yeah.
points. So yeah, that's one.
Abhay?
Sure. So I don't think I hit the limits my spends in that high, but it's all gone into Accor last year. It has all gone into Accor this year. Here's the thing, right? Like, in case I do want to stack up for more time and stuff, the only other one I would consider in Group A would be Gel. I think there's great value over there. If for those who do have like larger spend and larger points, in Group B, I think the way I look at it, there is ITC that you mentioned. ITC obviously for staying, ITC eating at ITC. You can also do the international travel house route. We spoke about it in our live stream.
You should speak about it again.
Sure. So ITH, essentially think of it as it's a travel agency that ITC owns. You can transfer ITC points into ITH at a certain ratio. I think 0.8, 5 to 4 or something.
Yeah,
0.8 kind of a ratio. And you can use ITH to book, revenue tickets for flights. You can
Similar
book the train.
to
You can book airport transfers. You can book hotels. You can do whatever you want. It's a full-fledged tour agency. To get the thing, what you have to do is just to go to the Club ITC site and, request conversion. You will physically get, a bunch of certificates mailed. Each certificate worth 500 or 1,000 rupees worth of thing. And again, the thing to note is, if you have to redeem, you have to take these to the ITH office. You have to sign each and every one of them. So every 1,000 denomination one you have to sign. So if you're spending 40,000 rupees, you need to sign 40 certificates. Or if you're misfortunate, you got 500 rupees certificates, you have to sign 80 certificates physically. Take it to them. The other caveat is that they have a 6-month expiry. So the moment you get it issued, they are only valid for 6 months more. So never ever do this speculatively. Do it when you need to. They will courier it to you in a couple of days and you can use it.
And you can't do this online, the redemption of certificate.
No, you have to go to the office. You have to go on a weekday when they are open.
And are there good number of offices in Bangalore?
No, there's only one office that's close to where Dhivan stays. But
I've still not been there. By the way, I have a very interesting use case that I want to think of doing this. So being in Bangalore, cab transfers are extremely expensive to the airport. Like, does it make sense? Like, if I want to use ITC and ITH for cap transfers, because my assumption is it will also be very expensive as versus an Uber. Like, does it make sense to move points from a Group B to ITC, do the ITH thing, and then book cabs to Bangalore? Would you get good value?
Let's look at the explicit transfer ratios, right? You got, Axis is giving you a 5-4 to ITC, correct? So there's a 0.8 over here. Now on top of that, there's a 5-4 on everything. So then this becomes a 0.64.
Correct.
So think that one point you're getting value of 64 paise flat if you are booking this. Plus, a lot of times the cabs that you book through travel agencies, they are going to charge you a little.
Exactly. No. ITH, I felt, I don't know. Do they have their own cabs or like are they
tie up with a bunch of people?
Because if their rates are very high, then it may not make sense. So
I don't think it will make sense because typically I think these are the same ones that supply cabs to Star Hotel.
They have like 20 rupees plus per kilometer, 30 rupees plus
ride or whatever.
How about the flights and hotels? Are they also...
Flights, I've tried it for flights and their prices are definitely competitive. Like competitive to any other OTA that you find. Okay, that's...
See, but if you have Smart Buy, probably then...
But Smart Buy will also, I found this cheaper than Smart Buy. Smart Buy will bump it up. But so here's the thing catch, right? So what you want to look out for is occasionally there are ITC transfer bonuses that happen. It happens a couple of times every year. You get up to 10 to 15% bonus. So now instead of a 64 paise value, you're going to get anywhere between 70% to 70 paise to 73 paise kind of value from this thing. If it's 15%, it will become 73. So, at around 70-73% paise value, and if you're using it for domestic flights, I think it can be worth it, especially if you're booking on something like an Akasha, which doesn't have a program.
Yeah.
If you want to, minimize your out-of-pocket expenses, I think it's a decent option.
I've been thinking about asking Adil something, and again, this is something that you just spoke right now, so it hit me. Rather ask this in a podcast than on a phone call. I have a confession. I have not transferred a single point to ITC ever. Okay, for whatever reason, like been lazy, whatever I earned is via staying in ITC on revenue. So, if I were to max out my ITC quota, ये जो Marriott route है, can you please explain that monthly मुझे कितना करना है? I am sitting on let's say a shitload of points on Axis and group पे खत्म हो गया है, तो मैं हर महीने कितना transfer करूँ? And how do I do the mechanics of it?
करने की जरूरत ही नहीं है. Just do 10,000 points. 5:4 hai. So do whatever. What is the math? 12.5. So if you do 12.5, you'll get 10,000 in your club ITC.
Every quarter.
Once
so
a quarter.
12,500 from Axis to 10,000 ITC.
10,000 ITC. Those 10,000 ITC will convert to 15,000 Marriott.
15,000 Marriott. Okay.
So you can do that only once a quarter.
Got it.
So basically 50k a year पूरे साल में move करना है. एक बार में move करना है, एक बार में ही move कर दो, कोई problem नहीं है. Because those points rest in your account. And then if you want to do like a staycation, I'll give you an example.
Can you do this once in a year annually? Like for example,
No.
Once together for the year?
No. 4 times a quarter.
तो उसका reminder लगा लो.
Yeah.
And this is good for what?
First of every quarter.
This is good for somebody who wants to use Marriott points.
Yeah. Apart from the group pay limit, ये थोड़ा बहुत
And the right
Marriott में जमा
strategy
होता
is to
रहेगा.
keep it in ITC or do the transfer to MB every month, every quarter as well.
I like to do an annual transfer of 50k. 2 reasons. One is that every quarter I know I will need because I need Marriott because I fly a lot and I use it for airline transfers more than hotel stays. Second is because I travel fairly significantly domestically also, I do feel the need to stay in domestic hotels. And oftentimes, even if you're feeling like a staycation, छुट्टी के टाइम पे ITC comes out with crazy rates. Like for example, abhi I think in February when there was a long weekend, or in January when there was a long weekend, I don't remember one of these dates, we got the suite room in ITC Windsor for close to 13,000 points.
Oh, that's quite cheap.
That's crazy.
You compare it to a Taj, for example.
Now in that, because it's a suite room, you get complimentary access to the lounge. You've gotten complimentary breakfast, and they will throw in a couple of amenities for the kids as well.
Absolutely.
So तुम्हारा dinner sorted है, तुम्हारा breakfast sorted है. 13,000 points में, of course, you have to pay some taxes. I think 1,000 or 2,000 bucks is that tax component. But if you're getting to experience a suite in that property, it's a great staycation property.
One thing I want to tell the audience here: never take Adil's suggestions jokingly. Yeah. Like that turned out to be brilliant. be it the A380 experience, I don't think anybody else can convince him to fly to Delhi and take the flight. Except Adil, honestly. And then the second one is the prestige. Both me and Sudeep have experienced it in Bangalore, Gulfshire. It's the best property in the country, I would say. We were just discussing this right now, some time back. And what you said just now is a very compelling argument, right? If I keep my moving points between an ITC, Bonvoy and Group B, it's a deadly combination that you can use your Group B points for, right? You can use it for ITC ka luxury stays, wait for those offers. You always have the ability to max out Bonvoy in every possible way, right? So amazing suggestion, I think.
But I'll also say one dream points we are sleeping on. I think the kind of value that you can, the thing you mentioned, right? Sweet nights for 13,000 odd points. You get multiple such deals across the board. They've also, added a bunch of nice properties, in the middle. I think some of the Fortune ones, some of the boutique ones, Tory collection, Tory are...
the Mementos in Udaipur, that looks superb. I've been wanting to do it. Chance nahi mila hai, lekin that looks really good.
I've heard great things about that one as well. The Story property in Goa is beautiful. It's a very small property, more like a boutique hotel of sorts, but very nice. And
then you have bucket list experiences also, right? Let's be honest, right? None of us will go to something like a Bukhara and say कि भाई आज खाना खाएंगे. But you can't. But अगर वो मन में ख्वाहिश है कि मेरे को भी खाना है, I want to see what the big deal about Bukhara is, right? I'll walk in and pay my green points.
One thing I don't know, it happened with me, so I like to call it out. It might not happen to you. Is ITC app mein there is something called a KYC. So the first time I went to ITC hotel, I thought I'd redeem my points. And I couldn't. The guy came with a bill and he said, sir, this KYC is not done. I don't know if it's called KYC or something. Make sure if you're planning just 48 hours ago, before that, or 72 hours before that, make sure you go to the app, upload all your ID cards and whatever, call up their customer service, do whatever you want. Or before you start your meal, tell them that if this is not done, get it done first. Because I had to pay by cash. I earned points on that. But my idea was something different. I had points, I couldn't use them. So it might happen in restaurants, in hotels, I don't know where else. But get it done.
That's a good
way. Also, somebody gave me this insight the other day. Sometimes you get crazy deals at Grand Chola, which is a very good property in Chennai also. Right? The Avartana. Yeah, it's superb restaurant. And if you have Culinaire, और अगर Culinaire है तो आपका double dip 25%.
So I remember
and you can actually, there was an offer which happened on Friday.
37.5.
Exactly.
You get 50%
You
more.
want to talk about it?
Yes.
You want to talk about it?
So basically what happens is if you have Culinaire, every time you dine at ITC, you get 25% discount. But every Friday, I don't remember what it's called.
Something it's called. Friday gourmet offer something.
Something to do with gourmet, like Dhimant is saying. You get 50% extra on top of 25%. So you actually get 37.5%, not 25%, which is fantastic.
Yeah, a lot of people actually surprisingly don't know about this. So I took my parents to...
It's not there written anywhere, I think.
Yeah.
I took my parents to ITC Maratha, which is the restaurant.
Dampuk. Oh, boss,
and
what?
Dampuk, there is one more, no? Dampuk.
Dampuk
Peshawari. I went to Peshawari. Oh. So Peshawari mein, I didn't know about this offer. This was a year and a half, 2 years back. And when I got the points, jitna spend kiya, aisa lag raha hai bahut sara points mil gaya. And then I went through it and then I saw some Twitter guy posting about it. And then I realized, okay, that's a deadly double dip to that. And it's a great offer.
So I've had a great experience at Avatar. As I remember, it was a number of years ago, 11, 12 years ago. So I got my college placements done. Grueling interviews through the day. In fact, not just the day, but graveyard shift before that, and then through the day, barely slept. And then once you get the job offer, these people are like, hey, you know what, we'd like to take you out for dinner. And we're like, sure, let's all go. So all the people who got selected, they took us to the ITC Grand Chola, and we went into Avasana. And here there's two things. You're like, you want to make sure you want to make a good first impression because you're going to be,
But there is opportunity cost of missing that meal.
So the glutton side of me couldn't come but very tasty food. I remember even though we were like pretty much running on overdrive and very little sleep, the food was delicious.
Yeah, like real case, at least in my family, this happens quite a lot. So if somebody has a similar problem, I think me and my wife, whenever we decide to start a holiday planning, right? I mean, like for example, abhi hum next year ka planning kar rahe hain. This year we have some work. We're not probably going to travel much. So every time there's this debate, right? International travel karna hai, national travel karna hai. And my wife always comes up with this view of very nationalist view, saying कि यार India पूरा देखा नहीं है, तो हम why are we trying to look at destinations like outside India? And I keep telling her that यार I don't know how to max out travel plans, right? So and she agrees. She also wants to save money, right? So she tries to give me ideas saying कि ये कर सकते हैं. And most of the times ends up being saying कि मेरे को Indigo book करना पड़ेगा on Smart Buy via HDFC. And either you don't have so many points or you don't want to travel Indigo, right? Either of the one. And for me, I think what I've realized is कि अगर मुझे इंडिया में मैक्स करना है, is only this ITC route or a Accor route or a Bonvoy route hotels which makes most sense.
अभी तो मैं बोल रहा हूँ Accor के लिए it's going to be crazy because Accor is opening up a new Raffles in Goa side.
Yeah.
Which is not Goa but let's say an hour away from Goa. वो तिरुड़ा के पास कहीं पे तो वो लोग कर रहे हैं. So that's going to be crazy. And then there are so many new Accor properties coming. Fairmont in Bombay has just opened
airport,
up.
Yeah.
It looks amazing from the outside. I haven't got a chance to go inside, but it looks spectacular. There is a newly opened Raffles in Jaipur as well now.
There's a new Pullman in Chennai.
A new Pullman
They
in
just
Chennai.
don't want to open anything in Bangalore.
They
That's
don't
it.
want to open it.
That's it.
नंदी हिल के पास एक खोल दो एयर ऑफिस.
मैं तो बोला ना, मैं तो एक एपिसोड में बोला भी, ट्विटर पे एक्चुअली डाला था. मैंने बोला कि a Sofitel Nandi Hills would be perfect. If not Fairmont, like at least Sofitel कर दो यार. Like Prestige के साथ कुछ तो competition चाहिए ना.
अरे but why? It's such a good property. Enjoy that property. You'll never get tired. You go a couple of times a year.
सर अवेलेबिलिटी बढ़ जाएगी ना वही प्रॉपर्टी में, अगर और एक आ जाएगा तो.
It's a massive property. बहुत rooms है उनके पास. ऐसा कोई problem नहीं है. So, anyways, what we were talking about is ITC.
No, I was talking about the whole ability to domestic and like, is there a way to max out and use this group B more satisfyingly for national travel if you don't have too much international
I'll tell you
travel?
what not to do. I'll tell you what not to do. Don't move points to IHG.
Air India also.
Don't move points to IHG because conversion ratio is very bad. And the properties, well, they're not all that great.
Do you
There are
mean
few properties that are really good.
ratios, revenue, IHG to points IHG, like is that bad?
Points required to book the number of nights at IHG property.
He's basically saying कि आप Atlas से IHG book कर लो, like that's far better, earn more.
So
on
there
it,
is one
yeah.
thing with IHG, I have just read about it. I don't know how well it is right now. I did it like 4-5 years ago. This ambassador program.
Ambassador program is simple, यार. 15-16 हजार रुपए दे दो.
हाँ.
It gives you diamond status.
Yeah.
And then what happens is, the cool part about that program is, every time you book any IHG property, you get a guaranteed 1 level upgrade. It is guaranteed. वो room available हो ना हो फर्क नहीं पड़ता. It is guaranteed. So the way people use it and maximize it is, they will book one category less than a suite. And therefore, you will get guaranteed upgrade to.
Because that's what I did. I got the ambassador program for my trip to Turkey and I booked the second level room and then they gave me the lowest level suite.
Yeah, there you.
हाँ, तो ये ambassador program अगर if you are having or if you have a long stay some.
But ambassador is a good program. Even if you are staying, let's say, about 8 to 10 nights a year, ये करा लो. ये सही प्रोग्राम है, इसकी काफी अच्छी वैल्यू मिलती है.
They have their higher end hotels are good-ish. Intercontinental is very good, for example.
Is very good.
Yeah.
Like if you think about it.
Oh,
but I would say,
Intercontinental, like
I would say
amazing
not
properties.
Some
Some of the
very
properties
but I
are
would say
very
not in
iconic.
India. Not in India. India में उसका उतना अच्छा वैल्यू. Like I still like Holiday in Goa. Must property है. Not the Holiday Inn which is a standalone Holiday Inn. I'm talking about the Holiday Inn Resort. The landscaping is brilliant. It's on the beach. Food is okay.
The seafood restaurant near the beach is iconic, like the one in IHG.
हाँ, but उधर क्या ना, so there is a chef called Chef Anthony.
Yeah.
तो जाके Chef Anthony को पटाना पड़ेगा, अच्छे से बात करनी पड़ेगी.
है जहाँ पे आप किसी को नहीं जानते हो.
नहीं देखो ये important है because the food there is like normal buffet food, तो feel नहीं आएगी गोवा वाली, right? But if you go and meet the chef and you put in a word and you talk to him, he's a very enthusiastic chef, Chef Anthony. He's a super enthusiast.
While you're busy making relationship with bank RMs, this is what he does. This is what he does.
नहीं तो अगर शेफ एंथनी से बात कर लोगे, he will do an outstanding job of taking care of you, taking care of the people, so on and so forth. The beach club restaurant, like you said, it's really good. It overlooks the beach. It's very nice. Similarly, I wouldn't recommend the Intercontinental Chennai though. That's a very sad property, very dated property, very ugly property. Ulta, the Sheraton in Mahabalipuram is an outstanding property, and the food on the beach is next level there. Acha, the best part is 18,000 Bonvoy points and you will get a night there. I have been there thrice, I think. All 3 times without saying anything, they have upgraded you to suite. One thing you have to keep in mind.
You booked it via Marriott, but
Marriott.
okay.
One thing to keep in mind is the suites there are not sea-facing rooms. So you'll be happy to, you'll have to be happy with the road-facing, suite, or let's say a normal building-facing suite. If you specifically request, they will give you sea view rooms, but they will not be suite rooms. Also, the sea view is not very accessible from most of the rooms, but the landscape just opens into the lovely beach. And if you have kids, it's a great property which is very friendly for the kids, and you can play a lot of games and stuff.
The one great property to make use of the free night award, right? The one that you get
FNA,
paid.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Which is the Sheraton
Mahabalipuram.
Yeah.
And it's how far is it from
15K?
Chennai? 30 minutes.
It's a 6-hour drive from Bangalore.
No, from Chennai, how far is it? 30
1.5 hours. One question I always have is like, you can book ITC from Marriott, but not the other way around, right? Marriott and ITC have some
No, you can't book Marriott via...
You cannot book Marriott via ITC, but you can book the other way around.
You can book the other way around.
But Adil, one question is that if I book the Sheraton via the Bonvoy program with 18,000 points as an example, do they honor the status the same manner in ITC? The Gold Elite status?
Yes, they do.
Then it's an interesting thing.
They do. It's very
Then
good.
it's interesting.
And if you have FNB spends, uske upar points bhi milega.
So again, to sum it up, domestic spends, you're saying ITC is definitely the best one. IHG, don't even bother going for it. Air India...
I have a different opinion with Air India.
Air India, I'll tell you, the one place where you will definitely want to transfer to Air India, and this is at least a little based on the data that I've seen. Air India does not necessarily devalue the award point requirements very much during festival time. So if you're looking for a flight during, like, say, a packed this thing, like, say, I saw last time during Diwali time. So Air India, from whatever I've seen, even though they're saying dynamic pricing, in the immediate week, you're going to have high prices, but then it tails off. But it is not very sensitive with respect to demand on festivals and stuff like that.
Yeah, see, the thing is that we debated it heavily on one of the WhatsApp groups, if you remember, right? About saying ki I would rather transfer or earn Air India points from somewhere else. Like, for example, you have the Air India signature card. Somebody has an IDFC card. But I genuinely feel that if you're sitting on a shitload of points that you earned via EP in Axis, or if you're sitting on a lot of points, I think Group B ka acha use hai Air India. Like, especially if you have domestic travel.
So this is what I can add, that if you have enough Group B points towards the last 6, 7, 5 months of the year, then don't transfer. Wait for the next year for it to become a Group B limit.
Yeah.
But if you have, say, 5 lakh points, just a hypothetical, if you have 5 lakh points on Group B, total, and anyway next year you'll be able to transfer only 2 lakhs. So you'll have 3 lakhs more. So then you can do a Group B transfer. Something of that sort. It's an increased cognitive load, but...
Yeah, but one of the things that I'm most upset about right now is that the requirement for business travel on Air India has almost become like... nasty now. 31,000.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense at all.
Yeah, but I would have loved traveling Bangalore to Delhi or Bangalore to Kolkata on business. Yeah, it's a great flight to have business on.
Bangalore to Kolkata Air India ही नहीं है. Air India presence.
नया कार्ड आएगा Air India का, ले लेना, उस पे travel.
I doubt whether they will have these equivalent of a Vistara Infinite.
We'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Yeah.
Anyways, I think my use case for Air India...
For me, yeah.
My use case for Air India is 2 or 3 fold in case I have to use. Like Sudeep says, I am more of a believer in collecting points for Group A and then transferring them out. Very conservatively use Group B. Don't use Group B much at all. Other than what I said for ITC, 50,000 points a year is my standard. उसके ऊपर कभी जरूरत नहीं पड़ी. In case if I'm tempted for a couple of domestic stays, then why not? Yeah, for sure. But I think there have been occasions in the past where I've had to do, for some immediate reason, I've had to travel with family to Bombay. And we have 4 of us if we have to go. Bombay, Bangalore, ticket on Air India is 4,000 points.
Yeah, economy is insane. Economy is
Just
insane.
crazy good value, right? So 4,000, 16,000 points में, oftentimes the price of the ticket is 7,000, 8,000 rupees, right? और अगर luckily अगर availability है आपके dates पे, then this is crazy value for money, I would say, right? So इस case में बहुत अच्छा value है. Second, I think if you are, Ameya had posted this tweet, I think, from the Great Indian Points and Miles show handle, where if you want to do a red-eye flight from, let's say, if you're in US, and you want to do a first-class ticket on Star Alliance from San Francisco to New York, so 40,000 points mein you can do first class on Air India. This is a crazy good
but a lot
utilization
of people
point.
did call out that the first class is very basic first class. It's like
It's
Indigo.
great
It's like
business
Indigo.
class.
Somebody says it's like Indigo stretch. And then I got like, छोड़ो यार नहीं जाना है.
It's like a business class.
I'm just joking.
So you book United via Air India. And again, it's Star Alliance, but the thing is that, they've got, again, we can only reverse engineer things, but within a single country. So, and then so they've got a combination of, is it across regions or not? And plus a distance-based chart.
Somebody found it out, no? Who was the person? Like somebody found it out on some interesting sectors also on that tweet, right?
Like
people have responded to
SFO to New York करना है, बहुत अच्छा value है यार, 40,000 points is.
5 घंटे की flight.
It's a 6-hour flight, and it's a radar flight.
Definitely
Business
better
है.
than doing Bangalore to, let's say, Delhi से तो अच्छा ही flight है, मतलब.
It's a great flight, and you'll save significant money.
Sir,
if
Bangalore to Delhi now is 31,000 Air India points.
That is but in the next 1-2 weeks time span.
No, it's the
you're talking
base
about
price.
business requirement.
Business base price.
Business base price.
Business base price is
I think
31.
business domestic though the price has gone crazy now.
8 point.
The lowest I've seen is like 18,000 points. But that itself pinches.
That's Bangalore to Bombay.
Yeah, I feel that itself pinches. You don't want to spend that kind
Bangalore
of
to Bombay
points.
business travel करने में sense
Because
नहीं
यार
बनता है.
1.5 घंटे की flight में क्या मतलब इसमें
Any
विश्वास है?
flight where Adil cannot enjoy the food, smell the food, take the food. By the time it's the flight
No,
is landed.
I was like यार मतलब थोड़ा feel तो लेने दो ना, मतलब point
नहीं,
क्या है?
वो बुला रहे जाओ जरा बात करे थोड़ा सा, उसके पहले तो फ्लाइट लैंड हो जाती है. Adil, hypothetically, imagine this if my experience with Vistara was amazing, right? So all of us, right? So imagine the same sector it was flying. A beautiful soft spot was Bangalore to Andamans, for example.
Oh yeah,
Amazing route भी हो सकता
It was
था.
amazing.
Like the timing couldn't have been worse, right? I can't go to Goa anymore on Vistara or Air India like directly. That's painful, man.
There is Air India Express.
There is Indigo.
Why you want blue chips? You want blue chips?
By the way, the Aeroplan one that you called out, right? And I think we've talked about this one in the past, but there is the one very interesting sweet spot. So Aeroplan has a feature for stopovers, right? Which is you do a stopover at a place up to 1 month kind of a time frame of 45 days, and you need to spend extra 5,000 points. But Aeroplan's charts are very origin to final destination based. So here's how it works out. Say SF to Bangalore, direct flight on Air India, business class.
Oh, this is beautiful. You've told me this.
Will cost you 110,000 watts.
Yeah, correct.
But you can do SF to Bangalore and Bangalore to Singapore. So it becomes like SF to Singapore with a stopover in Bangalore. You get this at 90,000 points, which is cheaper. Plus you get an extra leg all the way to Singapore. You figure out how to go to...
Like you said in one of the earlier episodes, we're all psychos when it comes to all this.
Oh yeah. यार फ्री में सिंगापुर का ट्रिप मिल रहा है तो क्यों छोड़ेंगे भाई? चलो.
But how does it work then? Do you get the Singapore entry with it?
Singapore entry?
So basically in many cases, right? If you're traveling via Singapore, you can enter Singapore.
You're not traveling via Singapore though?
इस case में
It works out, right? Because you're
you
traveling
have a
from India to
Singapore
Singapore,
visa,
potentially back into US, I'm guessing. So, yeah.
या तो फिर सिंगापुर जाके क्रिस फ्लायर यूज करके वापस आ जाओ.
Okay, yeah. I mean, if you have a Singapore visa, you can do that as we can do that way. Free trip to Singapore and 10,000 points safe.
All right. So we spoke about your Group A and Group B. Dhimant, let's come to you. How did you utilize your Group A, Group B last year? What are the plans this year?
I wasted my entire group B limit, तो मैं कुछ भी यूज नहीं किया. Like I transferred some.
Waste मतलब I don't think you wasted. जरूरत नहीं
हाँ
थी.
जरूरत मतलब what I feel is, for example, if I'm sitting on 4
I
lakh.
think all of us would have technically not utilized our group B,
Except
right?
for
It
the
doesn't make
ITC
sense.
50,000.
Yeah,
Why will we use it?
मैंने use ही नहीं किया. Let's say I've used 24,000 only, which I moved to Vistara for a flight or Air India now for a flight booking. That's it. और मैंने कुछ भी use नहीं किया. Everything else. Okay, so the group A, the 3 lakh limits. I have 3 lakh limit because of Burgundy Private, so I used it for 2 lakh to Accor and 1 lakh to Jal. That's it. Clear. Nothing else. And Singapore Airlines पे I had HDFC Pulse.
This year का क्या scene है? This year have you used? Have you not used?
I have already transferred 1 lakh to Singapore. Ideally, my strategy was very similar to Sudeep's, saying कि I will use other cards for Singapore, but unfortunately I ran out. So like he was saying na, the problem is कि the volume that you need for Singapore Airlines is not good enough from other programs. So you cannot use, तो आपको access लगने ही वाला है SQ के लिए. So right now also I'm sitting on a 1 lakh quota. Now it's very simple for me to say कि मैं 1 लाख अकाउंट में डाल दूंगा. But I'm sitting on it.
आपके 2 लाख होने चाहिए ना. 1 लाख आपने ट्रांसफर किया. आपका तो 3 लाख है.
एक सिंगापुर में किया, एक अकॉर में किया,
एक अकॉर में किया,
और एक बाकी है. Now I would have ideally put it into अकॉर and say कि safe है because of multiple reasons, but I'm keeping it alive because of.
नहीं रखो, अब दिसंबर तक टाइम है ना.
Exactly. I would just keep it and see what happens. Like I don't want to use it. Mine is pretty simple, I guess. I don't think it will go outside Accor or Singapore or Jal, like worst case scenario.
Aeroplan is the other one. As well.
Aeroplan, if I
Aeroplan
have a
is
US
brilliant,
trip, which is not happening this year, and I don't think you can plan a improper.
नहीं यार, लंदन भी करना है तो सही है यार. Just coming back from London is tricky. Come back from Dublin.
So help me understand Aeroplan ka sweet spots, because like if I'm traveling to Canada, like is it the same chart as US?
Yeah, it's similar for what I remember.
Or because it's a hometown, or is it a cheaper?
No.
redemption?
Similar.
So we end up thinking about Canada actually.
No, Aeroplan, even otherwise, for a lot of Star Alliance redemptions, I think it can work out well. It's one of the cheapest ways to get a flight into somewhere.
Even after this recent devaluation,
Yeah,
there's some devaluation.
some airlines have been devalued. United for sure is devalued, but some airlines still put. You want to get into Europe, you want to get on a Lufthansa, Turkish. And Turkish Direct is better. But otherwise, if you want to book Lufthansa, which is hard to get right now, Aeroplan is a good way to go about.
So tell me one thing, like I'm just a hypothetical question. If I have 1 lakh limit left, and if I move to Aeroplan, what are the 2-3 sweet spots that you would recommend on Aeroplan?
Oh, America is definitely one of the easiest.
Which is 90 or 110? How much is it? Business?
From Bangalore, business is 110K.
And which flight is this?
This is the Air India Direct, AI 175.
Oh, we don't want to fly that airline. Come on, dude. Like
That's a good plane. The Bangalore one, it's one of the ex-Delta ones. It's a nice plane. Their business class is pretty nice.
I thought it was not.
They have a Delhi trip from Delhi, right?
So don't take the Delhi one, which is going to San Francisco.
Okay.
That's a bad one.
That's SF for
But I would say just, so there are ways to identify these planes. You can go to seatguru.com. You can put in the plane number. You can put in the date. And then you can check the equipment.
Is there a Europe sweet spot to Aeroplan?
Lufthansa is a decent one. There's also Air India's got London, as you mentioned.
Exactly, yeah. London is great.
A350. And I think the Air India London goes to Gatwick. It goes to the Bangalore one definitely is going to be planned for Gatwick. So the taxes are also low. Taxes are lower.
60,000 mein ho jata hai, which is Bangalore London direct on Air India. But Avianca Life Miles mein 45,000. 45 mein ho jata hai.
Last episode,
if you have HDFC.
Or you can buy Avianca point.
And Aeroplan, does it have any partners on the other side, like New Zealand, Australia ke liye, do you have any?
New Zealand is one of them. They've got a list of partners.
New Zealand is a weird chart. It's like a 200:1 or something like that.
No, on Aeroplan. On
Airplane.
I don't remember actually.
Got it.
So,
New Zealand का mile chart भी बहुत अलग है.
Another one nice one you can do with Aeroplan is Delhi, New York on the A350 business class.
Yeah, that would be interesting. And that would again be 110, right?
That's a good hard product actually.
In Delhi से slower, no? 90K.
90K हो 90K
amazing,
होगा.
90K
first class अगर first class है A350 में?
No, that A350 doesn't have.
The first class 120K में.
I think one flight which I'm itching to do is Jal first class. Like I'm itching to do the Jal first class. I don't know how कैसे होगा.
कहाँ से? टोक्यो से?
पता नहीं किधर तो जाना है. Like I want to do.
अब बड़े points जाओ क्यों?
अरे सर बताओ ना सेक्टर तो बताओ. Jal से where? Tokyo to where?
Yeah, Tokyo to Honolulu है. Great, go to Hawaii.
How much is the mileage requirement?
Don't remember. But I'm
A lakh
sure you
type
have it
so,
up.
yeah.
Should be under a lakh. Definitely
होगा.
under a lakh.
अंडर लाख
We
होगा
need to
per
get
person.
Niranjal on the call.
बट फिर हमको यहाँ से टोक्यो का भी करना पड़ेगा.
That's okay. Excuse to go to Japan.
Let's talk about another area that Points and Mile Geeks are very passionate about, which is multiplying opportunities. When it comes to multipliers, there are two components in my mind that I thought we should potentially discuss. One is Access GrabDeals. The second is the partnership with Gyftr. Back in the day, when there were no restrictions, all of us went crazy with Access Gyftr, right? And जब Marks and Spencer का GrabDeals पे ऑफर चल रहा था 40x 45x, it was insane. But ground reality has changed today. अब क्या चल रहा है? Amya, let's get your perspective.
Sure. So GrabDeals is one thing that I actually end up using religiously every month. GrabDeals, the idea is you have two kind of offers that come in. There's either a 5x points or there's a 5% cashback. Okay. So it's like it's an affiliate site. You go to GrabDeals and through GrabDeals you go to a bunch of sites. So for example, you go to GrabDeals and from GrabDeals you go to Flipkart.
Yeah.
And then you buy something on Flipkart. You are going to get 5x points. Now, make sure you get the SMS saying that, hey, your GrabDeals order is tracked. Keep the, it's sometimes you might need to go back and forth with the customer care. But think about it like this. You have a Magnus Burgundy card. This is giving you a 24% back on Flipkart up to a certain limit. Right? So, I mean, it is great. At
Aapka, you are the double dip king. I should not be saying this, but let me just put it there. Because I worked for Flipkart for many years. The best time to do this was during BBD.
Oh, yeah.
You get that AirPods at $8,000. Then you get that 1,000 rupee cashback offer which Flipkart is giving, or that instant discount that is giving. And then you apply via GrabDeals. It's bliss.
No,
It's
but
bliss.
It's awesome. And I think the thing is that, so now you talk about double dips. Right? So that, anyway, this 5x is applicable across a bunch of things. You can buy it on Flipkart, Nykaa, Myntra, the ones that I use.
And unlike other banks, they do not take your discount or cashback points back because you shopped on a Flipkart or an Amazon.
Right, like SBI is notorious for some of this, but yeah. So here's an interesting this one, right? Flipkart also has this program which will let you earn supercoins, right? And if you, I forgot the name of the exact name.
VIP.
The VIP program.
VIP
yeah.
program.
So, and occasionally they have these offers which say, get 100% supercoins back if you buy this thing. So I'll tell you a very interesting double dip that I did recently. There was an offer which gave you 100% supercoins back on buying these power banks. Ambrain power banks, really nice with wireless charging. So I went to GrabDeals. Through GrabDeals, I came to Flipkart. So that itself gave me 24% back here, plus a significant chunk back with it. So 100% back in supercoins. A little more than 100% because of whatever things put together. Now, these super coins, if you're a VIP member, you can redeem these super coins on a bunch of things, including stuff like gold. So, and then you say you're buying gold coins. You apply a 5% discount with respect to that you can use super coins for, and you're getting gold discounted. And, this was the time before the recent gold rush which happened. And so I bought this gold, I sold it back out, and made a killing out of it.
But by the way, if you not notice, our editor is looking at this and saying, "Meri shaadi hone wali hai." I'm looking at it and saying, "Ki kuch to karna hai." But I'll tell you a very similar story I had. I got a Lego set for my daughter for a birthday, and it was some, it pinches to buy expensive Lego sets. Like it was some 8K bucks. And I didn't even know this offer was running. I bought the set. I got 8,000 coins back. I was like, ये क्या हो गया? And the 8,000 coins, I bought gold coins, and every time you bought a gold coin, you would get 1,000, you could use 1,000 coins. Right? So it's an amazing opportunity, like a great double dip.
But I think talking of this, right, the other one, so as I said, it's in two variants. There's a 5x, which is great with Magnus Burgundy. But then there's also a 5%. And this 5%, you can actually work it out well with a bunch of cards. I think one of them is the Access Flipkart card itself, and that's a very underrated card, by the way. So you get 5% back on all Flipkart. You get cashback with respect to a lot of other partners. There's Swiggy, there is a few partners across the board. And occasionally Flipkart also runs nice offers over there.
Myntra also,
Myntra is there, Flipkart is there, a bunch of them are there. By the way, so the Access Flipkart card, it's also a great card. Not only does it give you a 5% cashback flat on Flipkart, you can double dip on this with the GrabDeals offer for an additional 5%. You also have, cashback that you get on Myntra, you get on a bunch of websites, you get additional cashback. You also have great offers running on Flipkart itself once in a while. So I remember recently a friend of mine, he was buying like an Aether scooter on Flipkart, right? And not only do they, have nice deals, there was an extra discount, like a significant discount on the Flipkart card, plus extra 5% back. So all of it put together, I think it's a very underrated card in the overall stable. If you are a Flipkart loyalist, I think flat 5%, I think it makes sense for a lot of people. So I think this is also one underrated card from the
The image that I'm getting in my head right now is there's a guy taking a Aether bike, making his wife sit with jewelry on his body and driving away. Like, मेरे पास सब card है. I mean, make it sound like so much of capitalism.
I think one more multiplier opportunity with Axis is the travel. Plus, yeah. I'm not sure if all the cards are.
No, not all cards. For example, the Reserve never give travel HP multiplier. It was only Atlas and Magnus.
Atlas का भी hit and miss है
I didn't know this by the way, but I didn't know this. I bought using Reserve. मैंने तो assume कर लिया कि अगर Magnus से मिल रहा है तो Reserve पे भी मिलेगा. I didn't get it, and then I realized shit Reserve पे ये feature ही नहीं है. So learned it the hard way.
Atlas is also hit or miss. I've heard that. I've never tried it.
But basically, anyway, so this is your OTA.
Yeah.
This gets you 5x points on flights and hotels.
I will never ever in my life realize how Axis managed to kill a card like Reserve. Like they're sitting on a gold mine. I don't know what they were thinking.
Clearly,
Like,
it was a favorite card. It was a favorite card. It was an
With
epic.
that entry level barrier they had added, they should have maintained it.
like amazing card, man.
Anyways, let's talk about AEP.
Yeah. I mean, if you talk about multipliers and you not talk about AEP, I mean, that's the number one multiplier thing in the country today, right? I mean, if you want to, let's take an example of one of our colleagues who has done this, right? Bought a house, went to the builder, negotiated for an MDR of 1%, spent 35 lakhs on the card as a down payment of one of the houses, and he got addicted to it. So he's like, next wala, I will pay next month. It's okay. And he paid in 3 installments, some 80-70 lakhs on the EP. 14%
That's
of
crazy.
that.
14% on these kind of amounts is madness.
Yeah, and when the earn becomes easy, that is when you realize that you are sorted for 3 years of Group A, 4 years of Group A, you're sorted, man. Like,
So basically, we are all, doing the 5x on GrabDeals for extra points. This
So
person is like,
let's break it down for our users, right? I mean, what Dhimant is trying to say is, on Magnus Burgundy, just at the brass tracks, what happens is your default reward rate is 4.8%. It's 6%, but when you convert it 5:4, it comes to 4.8%. Now, every time you spend any amount up to 1,50,000 rupees, you get 4.8%. But the moment you spend more than 1,50,000 rupees, every 100 rupees you spend after 1,50,000 rupees gets you 17.5% back, which after conversion of 5:4 comes to 14%.
yeah.
So now, if you're spending, let's say, 10 lakh rupees on 8.5 lakh rupees, you're going to get 14%, which is more than 1 lakh points. And then on the first 1.5 lakh, you're getting more than 7,500. So you're getting more than 1,20,000 rupees, which is like a 10-11% return, which is
Absolutely
nuts. If you
And
think
Adil, I'm
AEP
telling
also
you-
applies to the regular Magnus.
Yeah, it does. And Adil, I'll tell you, like we don't realize this today, but 10 years from now, 20 years from now, people are going to speak about it like we speak about Diners 10x today. Let me tell this to all the banks. Axis already killed your potentially super duper ultra premium card already with Magnus. You don't need to kill it. Like it's already killed. Like this is a killer thing till the time. Like if you want to buy a house, if you want to buy a car, if you want to buy a scooter, I think there is no better time.
Yeah.
But again, fair warning to everyone, make sure that the merchant code is right. You don't want to end up in one of the restricted codes, then you are not only paying.
Oh, by the way, the call out is the most common combinations I've seen is builders getting tagged as rental.
Yeah.
Number one, not only do you not get points, sometimes you even charge 1% fee on that. Second is cars के साथ insurance MCC.
Cards and fuel भी आता है.
Insurance and fuel.
हाँ.
Both.
Insurance में तो at least you don't get points. Fuel में तो you have to pay surcharge.
Yeah, correct. And,
तो 1% और लग जाता है.
some of these car agents, they are by default also insurance agents. So you have to make sure that you tested this out well. So these are the two ones I would say are the most common problem areas. And utilities. Sometimes they get cracked with utilities as well.
Right, so that was AEP, which is accelerated edge points, right? That is what they call it. So with that, I think time to bring this to a close. Big thanks, Sudeep, for coming back on the show. Dhimant and Ameya for always graciously showing up. So with that, let's wrap this up. Gentlemen, always a pleasure. Nikhil, thanks for coming in like you always do. Ladies and gentlemen, we hope you enjoyed this particular episode, which was on unboxing the Axis ecosystem for you on all things edge rewards, edge miles, points, cards, Magnus Burgundy, Atlas, Privilege, Samsung Infinite, all of that good stuff. If you've been enjoying the show, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and drop in that comment if you like this video or if you didn't like it. We're more than happy to improve and bring to you even more better material on all things points and miles. And with that, this is Adil signing off on behalf of the Great Indian Points and Miles Show.
Flashing bright, we're on the go. Tune in now, there's so much to know. Earning bits, travel dreams we sow. All aboard the Great Indian Points and Miles Show. Zero to hero in the blink of an eye. Fly first class, no need to be shy. Redemption sweet, touching the sky. Award seats booked, let's give it a try. Award seats booked, let the points flow. It's all aboard the Great Indian Points and Miles Show. Unlocking journeys wherever you go. The sky's the limit, feel the travel mojo. Hidden treasures in every flight. Nights in places that feel so right. From deserts to the city lights. Get set, steal those dazzling sights. Miles stack up each passing day. Rewards come back in a million ways. In this game you want to play the Great Indian Adventure, yay! Award seats booked, let the points flow. It's all aboard the Great Indian Points and Miles Show. Unlocking journeys wherever you go. The sky's the limit, feel the travel mojo.